band competed on Charlie Daniels Talent Roundup, broadcast on the Nashville Network, and on July 8, 1995, they were announced as the big prize winners to the tune of $25,000.
Something in the water taught me how to crawl. Something in the water taught me how to fall. Something in my blood.
Well, hey, y'all, welcome to another Something in the Water podcast. I'm your co-host, Uncle Dave Griffin, along with Sean Clark. Sean, tell them who we got in the room today.
We got Mr. George Farr and Bob Tanner here, two musicians.
Glad to be here.
Good to be here.
Waycross musicians.
Good.
Blackshear music.
Blackshear.
Well, actually, I was born in Waycross.
Local.
Yeah, y'all have both lived in Waycross previously.
Yes.
But now you're counties away.
Across the river.
Across the river, that's right. And old friends of mine. I've picked with y'all and shortly. You know, it might not have been long-lasting groups or anything, but we've passed the times with guitars and keyboards. George is a keyboard player.
Yeah.
First and foremost, you probably play the guitar too, I would
Very
imagine.
little.
Very little.
Play it left-handed, upside
Harmonica.
down, backwards.
Okay.
Yeah, I do pretty good harmonica, too.
Okay.
But, my favorite instrument is the Hammond B3. I love it.
Yes.
It's just a mighty B. I just love it.
And of course, Bob is guitar player and bass player in many groups. And you play anything else besides stringed instruments?
I know you pretty well got me there. Could never figure out the drums.
Yeah. Yeah. I reckon I knew you more than I knew you to begin with, because when I was in,
And those that are listening, he knows Bob.
yeah,
Knew Bob more
I
than knew
keep
George.
forgetting about our
U1 and U2.
audio listeners out there. Sorry about that, folks. I knew Bob first, and around 74, I started taking a course out there at Waycross Ware Tech, and you were in forestry, weren't you?
And forestry.
Yeah. And along about break time, around 10:30 in the morning, or lunchtime, somewhere around there, we'd gather in the commons, or whatever they call it. It was a damn concrete picnic table in the middle of the
Concourse.
wings, the concourse. And we took to bringing our guitars sometime.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Mike Johnson, he went there too, but it might have been a different year. I don't remember him playing so much, but yeah, we did a lot in the concourse. I was impressed that Ray was doing original. I was wanting to do original, so we kind of might have been the kickoff right there.
You weren't writing back then?
I was writing some. I think
Yeah.
you come by the house
I
on Real
did. You
Street.
invited me to the house after school one day, and played some of your originals to me at that point. Yeah, we were both into the original song concept. This would have been around 74. And then I went off and joined, dropped out of school about 2 weeks before graduating. Went on the road playing Eddie Middleton and them. And what did you do at that point, right around 74? Did you finish your school?
I finished the school and actually went to work for the government. Forestry.
Did you apply your
Yeah.
forestry? Okay.
So, yeah, I put
Smarter than me.
Yeah, well, it was something I enjoyed doing. My granddaddy did it. My daddy was a carpenter, so the wood was just part of it.
Wood was in your family.
Yeah, Yeah.
Careful now.
You know what I'm talking about?
But what you're saying about y'all are both early on as musicians, and y'all are
Right.
both into songwriting. I was too when I started.
Yeah.
That was what I was most interested in. Was that same
Same
for
way
you?
with me, yeah.
Like, what do you? Because all musicians aren't like that. Most of them take into just being virtuoso and learning all the hard. I always went for let's try to write something. Every time I sat down with something. What do you reckon the difference is with that?
Well, I started off on the rhythm guitar,
Yeah.
and
What
Me
age?
too.
just before you met me.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
during high
Well, that
school,
was the same with me because I didn't start.
not serious
rhythm
where I
until
knew more
about
than 5 chords,
72. 72 was when I really started getting familiar with it.
When I was in high school, which I graduated in '76, my parents got a grand piano, a baby grand piano, and that's when I started.
Just you were drawn to it.
Yeah, just something to do, and went in there and I say, "This is fun." Now I played trumpet,
in the high school.
and
then.
went on played in the jazz band at VSC College and all that, which is now VSU.
Yes, you.
Yeah, but
Valdosta.
started playing piano about high school. Ricky Otterman was playing with you guys, and I graduated with Ricky. And I
Okay.
listened to Ricky play. I said, "Man, I got to learn how to do that."
Yeah.
And I never really got with him. We were in different crowds pretty much, but I would watch him. Yeah, and I got just wanted to
Who
learn
did
how to
you,
do it.
I know Ricky kind of did the same thing. He just was drawn to it. His daddy found it in one of his warehouses and brought it home, tuned it, and put it in the game room or the family room. And Ricky would get home from school every day and just go sit down there. But he was listening to music already, so he was listening to a lot of Allman Brothers and a lot of Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Yeah,
That were the two.
well, that's some good influences right there. Now,
But that was what he would listen to and just have in his head. And then he'd walk all the way down to the family room and just sit there and recreate it somehow or another. So that's definitely an ear, a gift, and everything. So you pretty much had the same experience. didn't
yeah,
you?
same thing. And then I didn't ever play it into a band until after I graduated high school, and got into to college. But
What
right
was
by
your
that
initial
time,
influences?
the Allman Brothers.
Yeah.
There's so many of them. Ray Charles. I was always a Ray Charles fan. From the get go, and I can't think of them now. There's just I loved it all. I really did, and I really started listening to Deep Purple. I liked the organ sound, and Jimmy Sistar. You remember him? He went to my church, and we were talking about we'd fiddle around together a little bit on the organ and pop organ in the church there. But he said, "I'm getting ready to sell my Hammond organ," and so I bought it from him. Hammond. It was an M3, it wasn't a B3.
Okay.
A big old Leslie cabinet. I still got it today. It's just sitting in the closet, or not the closet, but in the corner over there. And every now and then I crank it up, and the dust flies out of it. And Leslie starts going dirt everywhere. But it's fun to play. It's that's my favorite instrument.
It's a great sound, but they hell to carry.
Oh yeah. I remember. Philip Walker.
Yeah.
Him and I were going to Nashville to play with this guy, and we took my Hammond organ and Leslie cabinet, my Fender Rhodes piano, and all his equipment, our suitcases and everything. He had a Volkswagen Beetle,
Wow.
and he had
put all
rigged
that
up
in
a trailer hitch to his Volkswagen Beetle, and we headed to Nashville, and we got up to what is that, Eagle Pass, where you go up over
Mont Eagle.
Mont Eagle, yeah. I literally thought I was going to have to get out and start pushing. I really did. We barely made it over that hill. And then it was hell going back down the other way, trying to burn out the brakes. But that was an interesting thing. Yeah, that organ went all over the country.
Well, let's talk about. I know a little bit about y'all's history, but let's get concise. Very first band, Bob, that you played in.
That anybody knows about that,
That
made any
anybody
money.
knows about that I remember.
Probably, we played in Hijinks.
I remember that band. That was a Feral Owl band,
Rip
wasn't
Snow,
it? No, Rip Snow.
Ricky McDaniels, Ricky's sister Ramona, and I think Ricky was playing drums.
Ricky McDaniel was playing drums? Wasn't
Yeah.
Danny Altman?
Wasn't Danny Altman?
Okay. These names are on all our previous podcasts, too. Hijinks, okay.
Yeah, it was.
That was about 75 or so.
Yeah, and Hijinks. Well, actually, might have been a little later because that's when we had Rock and Andrew Johnson, Droop, and Wimp,
Black guys.
black guys in the band.
Bill McIntosh?
Bill McIntosh for a little while.
That was Hijinks.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
real good musicians. You know.
Now, I was playing in Down Home from 75 to 78. After we broke up in 78, Joe Shear, our lead guitar player, moved back home to Waycross. And it wasn't long before he had picked up
We got up with him. It was a group called Spellbound,
Spellbound.
and we were.
Was that your first group?
No, that was actually the first money making group. Was a group called Gold Dust. It was.
Is that
me and
Waycross?
Yeah, Tony Tatum, Buddy Brantley,
Yeah.
Rick Jacobs. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Guitar player.
Yeah, and Jim Hopkins, and me, and Jim Eccles.
Okay.
And we did a battle of the bands and won money on that.
You did?
You won that. I think we thought we were going to be high. We were high rollers. I think we won $150. So it's split it 5 ways. Yeah. But and then the next band, other than some gigs I did over in when I started in the Valdosta at the college, I played with several different groups over there. Mm-hmm. Just side gigs, just doing it. And I was really starting to get into it then, and then we got into Spellbound, and that was when I really started getting interested in equipment and synthesizers and updating my equipment and all that kind of stuff, and learning how to sing some harmonies and vocals and stuff like that. So I guess Spellbound was my catalyst that got me going.
Well, Joe probably came in there and whipped y'all into shape.
Yeah,
He brought the old down home work ethic with him.
he'd have us all go over and help him paint cars. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, he was a auto body detailer.
yeah, still is, I believe.
Well, it probably is, yeah. And he put y'all in outfits like we did, rehearsed, and played. You probably played a lot of current top 40 dance
disco.
music. Yeah, that was the old formula that we worked off of in that band. I remember y'all had. I remember Jim wearing some red overalls.
We all had them on. Yeah.
He wore them later in Down Home number 2 when I moved back from Tallahassee, and we all pulled together the original Down Home lineup except for Ricky and John Smith. Yeah, that was cool. So, talking about songwriting, like you were saying a while ago, though, I wonder from y'all's perspective, what was it that made you like us in that, and unlike so many other musicians,
Do you think it's the influences that you were listening to were songwriter kind of things, and that's what you know what I mean? That's how it was with me. Is I just was into.
I don't know. I kind of feel I'm sure I was influenced, by a lot of sounds. But when I write, that's just kind of my own. I don't feel. I don't want to sound like anybody
before
else.
you started playing the music.
Yeah, I was when I started playing around the piano. I was writing.
You did start writing
yeah,
it about
yeah,
that time.
yeah.
Okay, that's when it really. I wrote a few songs when I was younger, but not thinking this is how you do it or anything. Or, I didn't even know how to play guitar at that point. No, but really about 72 was when I wrote my first real song once I started playing. But what about you, Bob?
I think that the writing that I was influenced a lot by. I grew up on the farm. You listen to two things: country and western. And my daddy, his music was a Fats Domino, Jerry Lee Lewis.
Really?
Seems like I would be a piano player, don't it? But that's what they liked. My uncle,
How about that?
that was a big influence on me. He loved Merle Haggard, and you can't really find a whole lot more inspiration once you start listening there.
Yeah.
But I've just enjoyed it all, and I'm like George. When you start out writing, it may be this way. When you end up, it could be around the block on how it goes.
That's what I enjoy the most about playing is writing and performing something that you did, and something that's
it's satisfying.
yeah, that's the biggest.
And a lot of bands don't ever have the luxury of doing that. Back in our day, we just played cover songs. We didn't hardly ever
supply and
attempt to
demand.
do anything.
Well, we found out even with Alibi when we were playing the big stage, when opening up for all these major groups, that people want to hear something familiar.
Yeah,
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
so
we still play covers now.
Yeah, but y'all primarily, y'all are, percentage-wise, y'all are more original.
We're about
to cover.
80,
80-20.
20, but you still got to throw them covers out there.
Yeah, but that's pretty impressive to me. That y'all have built a following.
Well, I just did
and
that
an
because you
audience.
told me I couldn't. Like, you ain't never gonna do it. You never gonna make any money, boys. If you don't go out there,
I
and
do
play
remember saying that.
covers. You and Paul Lee ride me about it. I was like, well, we'll see. I like a challenge. I like somebody to tell me I can't do something.
I think everybody's heard that, Elvis. You better go back to driving a truck, son.
We don't need no guitar player, son.
keep your day job.
Thanks for that encouragement, Dad.
You'll never make it with a name like that, Elvis.
Get a real job.
Ooh-wee. Yeah. I think that in my case, I know that I loved reading, and I loved
Wordplay.
English.
Yeah.
Classes like that, I got into writing and everything from that standpoint, from school, at school level, And
All you Griffins, your brother,
what, your brother?
your brother, he what he was. I mean, I know he worked for the
Well,
Herald, but what-
journalism, yeah. He was in journalism in high school, and I was.
and
too.
your nephew Graham, which I'm sure he got it all from y'all.
Yeah, Connor too.
Connor.
But I'm sure that helps out a little bit. Of course, and the influences that we had, Hank Williams, and all those great songwriters.
Yeah, back during that time.
What's that whistling over here? Is that your Coke can, isn't it? It's the Coke. I've heard Cokes do that.
I hear it too.
You hearing it?
Yeah.
You hearing it? Are you hearing
high
it?
squeal. It almost sounds
It's
like,
like-
I thought somebody's voice.
I think it's your Coke can. Is it empty?
No,
are you
It's
wearing a
not?
hearing aid?
Okay.
no.
That's what it sounds like, a hearing aid feeding back.
Folks, what we've just had a discourse on.
There's a
The
sick
sound-
mouse over in
there's
the
a-
quarter.
I thought the high end was the
I
first
kept
thing that
hearing-
goes.
Halloween.
I thought, damn, Bob. Bob's over there.
No, he's not shy.
Bob's over there recapitulating.
Yeah.
But
Jackson Brown was always a big influence.
Jackson Brown, the emergence of the singer-songwriter in the early 70s, that was right in our wheelhouse.
Yeah.
That's when you and me started playing.
First time I heard that line said, maybe people only ask you how you doing because it's easier than letting on how little they could care. I said, that boy knows something about writing.
Well, we had Bob Dylan, we had the Beatles, which was rich veins to mine,
Y'all
you
had it
know.
all we had to
Yeah.
do was look back. We didn't have anything. We had to search back.
Well, it seems like it's always
find
that.
anything.
It's always something building on something else and then pushing it a little further and then maybe getting to the point where it's
If you're looking for it, you're going to find it.
homogenized, and then somebody will go back and bring it back to the primal again. Somebody mentioned to me one time that, have you ever noticed the pattern? I said, the pattern? Said, war. During the war, music gets real serious, bland and everything. After the war, everybody's happy, and you have it's like World War One. After the war, you had the Roaring Twenties. Then you had the Depression and World War II. Then after World War II, you had rock and roll. Like everybody just got up and danced again, or were wanting to really bad. Let's see if you can carry it further.
I thought that war brought good music because people were like
So relieved.
had something to write about or
Protest.
something to protest.
Well, not necessarily bad or good, but it was just like the tenor of it. You know, it was like you had the Roaring Twenties right after a war.
Well, look at Vietnam. I mean, everybody
Yeah,
was,
what can you do there?
you know.
You had disco after Vietnam.
you had Jimi Hendrix during Vietnam.
Not immediately.
Well,
Yeah. I mean, you didn't have disco immediately, but I thought that was a lame pattern anyhow. So what
it
would
does come and go, though. I mean,
Yeah, it does.
the new comes and then
Y'all ever think
Everybody
there'll be another time like we had in another decade like the 60s? You think that'll ever happen again?
I don't know. It's starting to feel like the 50s around here. Everything. Like,
It's
let's
totally
take back
different.
women's rights. Let's take
Oh,
back
yeah.
this. Let's take this.
What
Everything's
about
going back.
a depression? If they're saying we're close to a recession, whether we will get there or not, who knows? But that's tough times.
Well, this new information age is changing everything. I mean,
It is.
You know, you just think a thought and put your thoughts down on the phone, and it's next thing you know, it's gone to millions of people, billions of people if it goes viral. You know, and it can be somebody that has no influence on anything, or has just an abstract thought. It just all of a sudden, boom, explodes. You know, just,
Which is totally different from the
yeah.
40s, 50s, and 60s.
And technology, you know, but the way technology is expanding now, you invent something, and by the time you get it to market, it's obsolete. That's the truth, and it's gone. It's always something better. It's just so technology and artificial intelligence. The world is changing very quickly.
It is.
Very quickly.
A lot of smart people out there.
You almost can't have a thought without somebody across the world already picking up on it and,
Yeah,
and making it
absolutely,
before you
yeah.
can, you know.
Is that good or bad?
Well, it gets
According to
there-
what your thoughts are.
it gets all of us there quicker, but it kind of, you know.
I wonder what's out there that we don't even know about that's sitting out there just waiting. That's almost at the
That's the thing. I think
level of
you
putting
say
it
would
out
there be
there.
another decade like the '60s or music wise? I feel like we could be there right now, but you wouldn't know it because most of all of it's underground. You know, and you can't get the wheat for all the chaff. Back in the '60s and '70s, you had the best of the best, and they was put up front because it was the radio and TV, and you had
And you don't really have one thing anymore, and the internet is everywhere.
Right. I mean,
So
there's
not
great
one
music
focal,
out there,
one
but
focal point.
it's finding it, and then there's the mainstream, and then there's
Yeah, everybody's not
the
tuned to the
underground,
same
yeah.
channel, so like it's all over the place.
yeah. So yeah, it's getting original artists to the forefront is a hard thing to do now.
Yeah.
I
Man,
think people are almost spoiled by the amount of music that's out there, though. You know,
Yeah, that's the thing.
I want to hear this. Boop, you got it.
That's what we were talking about last time. I think it's like once back in the day when you could whip out a record or a cassette or something, you knew what you wanted to listen to. Like I got these 20 or so. I'm gonna listen to this right now. And now we got anything at the touch of, and I don't know what.
Scrolling through, you can't make
I don't
a
even know what I
decision.
want to listen.
you
There's
can't make
too
a
much.
decision.
There's too many options.
It's like flipping channels. Okay, well, you know,
Yeah, it's like, and
yeah,
that's what we were saying. It's like you
Can't
can't
go
even
back
pick
to
up.
the 3 channels we had.
Yeah.
You can watch
When I
any
grew
movie you
up,
want to. Like, well, great. I don't know what to watch.
I'm thinking my age has something to do with that too. It's like, I've listened to Deep Purple, Machine Head, X amount of time. I've ate a Whopper this many times as compared to 70, 1970 when it was barely out. It was excellent back then because I hadn't had but 25 of them yet, And after listening to Deep Purple, I'm going through something at night trying to think of something to listen to go to sleep by, and I'll pass by all these albums or Spotify or something, and I'll have a hard time deciding because I'll get to it and I'll say, no.
I can find something better.
Yeah, I'm thinking I can find something better, but
I'm
at
like
the
that
end
with
of
porn. I'm like that with porn.
I'm still in my early Burger King phase with porn. I'm still in my early Whopper phase with porn now.
She might know. Let's go on.
I ain't seen enough of that to be tired yet.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
But you're talking about influences earlier. I'd have to say piano, Chuck Leavell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no, I mean, I can just listen to him over and over.
Lean over this way to your mic there. I've been to his house.
Have you really?
Yeah.
I've been to his plantation or his wife's plantation.
Yeah. He had old split level, kind of a suburban house in Macon. 77, I believe it was. Sea Level was recording was rehearsing for Cats on the Coast, which would have been, I think, their second or third album.
I think that was their first one, wasn't it?
No, they had one before that.
Just Sea Level.
Yeah. And then they had Cats on the Coast with That's Your Secret.
That's my favorite album.
Yeah. We learned that song too.
Yeah, we did that one too.
Did you? Yeah. And we were playing at Uncle Sam's or Bananas, whatever the name of it was then. And since Randall Bramlett was in that band, and he was former King David and the Slaves lead singer, which was Wayne Scarborough, played bass in that band. So, and Davis Causey was also in King David and the Slaves, guitar player for Sea Level. And somehow or another, between Wayne and Eddie Middleton, took Randall's spot in King David and the Slaves after he left. So there was that connection from King David and the Slaves, which was a Jessup, Georgia band who went on to college at UGA together, and it was about an 8-piece horn band, R&B band. Can you imagine that name today? King David and the Slaves. What the hell? Of course, that was more a throwback to biblical time. But they said, yeah, come on over, man. We were practicing. We all went over there on a Sunday or Saturday or Sunday, and
probably just got blown away, didn't you?
Went in the front door, and they said they're down in the game room downstairs. It's like 2 or 3 level house. We were walking down the basement stairs, and there was these gold records going down the wall with us, Chuck Leavell. We got there, and there they was. Sea Level was a hell of a band.
Oh, they were great.
Jazz, funk,
they put it all together.
Blues, rock. It was one of those fusion bands that Chuck Leavell from the Allman Brothers, J-Mo, the drummer for the Allman Brothers, the bass, Lamar Johnson, bass player from the Allman Brothers. Then you had Randall Bramlett,
Davis
Causey, and Jimmy Knowles was the second guitar player. Man, technical, soulful, just some of the best heartfelt guitar picking I ever heard, They were out there. I remember they was all, the guitar players was playing through Oh, what was them little amps that was so popular right back in those days?
Boogies.
Mesa Boogie.
Mesa Boogies, yeah. And we just sat there slack jawed, you know. Said, but yeah, it was so good. And they were rehearsing to lay down the studio tracks on all of that stuff.
I was
So
listening
good.
to a YouTube video of them doing the Scarborough Fair.
Yeah.
Golly, I just couldn't believe it. What they did with that song. They just took it to another level.
Mm-hmm.
They really did.
Yeah. So, Bob, didn't you play some with Seldom Blues?
Yeah, I played probably about 8 years on and off with the Farrell.
You got that picture I sent under random pics?
It says Bob's baby pictures.
Bob's baby pictures. It'd be Seldom Blues. There's a blast from the past from
Oh, yeah.
Little Nights. The honky tonk in Waycross that ain't no honky tonk no more. That's Farrell Howell on the right, lead singer. There's Bob in the middle playing bass, and that was George Bassinet from Homerville on lead guitar.
Judge Bassinet now, isn't it?
Yeah, he is a lawyer or a judge or something like that. Yeah,
And
Been
that,
both.
that band is called
Seldom Blues.
Seldom Blues.
Do you know the story behind the name?
No, I don't.
It's like, how blue
we
are
always,
you,
we always have
Seldom?
a good time. Seldom we blue, yeah. That was a party band for sure.
Mm-hmm.
George has got a little bigger.
Yeah.
We've lost Farrell. My hair was a little darker.
Yeah. Farrell is gone.
Huh?
Farrell is gone.
Yeah, he died
Yeah.
about 5 years ago, didn't
Maybe two.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I knew that.
So Farrell's not the sound man.
No, that's Farrell Souls.
Farrell Souls.
he? Was Alan doing sound for you guys?
Huh.
He's doing keyboards, man.
Every now and then.
Who was the drummer in this band? Could have been.
It could have been Jake Lee. Could have been Tony Beck. It could have
Yeah.
been Donnie Minix.
Is
Yeah.
Is that a player over there halfway off the left?
I don't think so. It looks
No,
like
that's-
somebody walking.
Yeah, that's the bottom of Little Nights.
Oh, yeah, off the stage. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's half of a girl right down there in the bottom.
Staring at.
And right up there above George's head right there is the bottom of the banisters on the second level. Mm-hmm. That's
That
where
was a good venue to play in.
That's where Jimmy Stratton sat with his legs through, taking pictures of. He was smitten by Jack Cadillac that night
Oh,
at the
downhill from there.
2002 Grand
I thought we was
Parsons
gonna
Guitar Pool.
make it through an episode without you saying Jimmy Stratton. But I guess we did.
Hey, Jimmy.
Is he paying you on the side? Or something?
No, come on down here and bring that excellent bean footage with you.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what's on them other two random picks there. I think I don't want to pull. Wait a minute. Nah, we'll hold on to that one for a minute. So I guess we all were pretty much, except for Sean, who came along later.
I was born
Sean
in 74.
Sean was born about when we were.
Yeah, y'all keep saying 74, or you do. That's when I was born.
And Sean came along when we were starting to cut our teeth in bands. Yeah. On songwriting, on our instruments, and in bands.
I was cutting my teeth on a dish rag.
A teething ring and a pacifier. But we all pretty much, the three of us, had a very common entry into music, I feel like, you know.
I think one thing that I probably was different than you guys is I gave it up for about 7 years, totally.
Now, I never did that.
Yeah. I mean,
I would be
still
off
had
for
a piano
about a
in the house.
year.
I had an electric piano in the house, but when I got off the road, and doing the thing with Waycross Express, I moved to Jacksonville and got married and started having children and working in the furniture business down there in the management program. Just gave it up for 7 years. Moved back to Waycross, and here comes Bob into the furniture store. And that's how we got together. He heard I moved back, and we started writing and fooling around together a little bit and playing some things.
But y'all knew each other prior.
Didn't know
to
each
that?
other at all.
Did not.
Never met. And then Alibi struck up and got
Yeah.
that going. Yeah.
Alibi. Now there's
We had a name in mind before Alibi came about.
what was that?
It came from a dream George had.
It's called the Flying Raccoons.
All right.
I had a dream that we were practicing and doing our thing out there in Bob's garage, and I just had a dream one night that these raccoons had coming into the getting all on our equipment. We were trying to shoo them off, and all of a sudden they just started flying. I must have watched The Wizard of Oz or something like that.
I thought it was a great name.
That was a pretty vivid dream. I still remember it.
Yeah.
Opened up the door, little white rack. They were white too.
Yeah, white raccoons. Yeah.
White raccoons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was about to say that would have worked until your fans started shortening it.
yeah.
Flying coons probably wouldn't have flew.
Mighty good dream.
I would not have flown.
They're white. That doesn't make it better.
But Alibi started out as a rock and roll band. We had Ricky McDaniels and
Right,
And
right. He had the name, right?
No, it was.
That was still
we came up
y'all.
with the band.
Y'all were in the
Yeah,
band.
yeah.
Okay, now Danny was in that.
We
drummer
we got
that
him as a guitar player, and Bob. It was actually Bob was playing rhythm, and I was playing the piano. We were just doing, and then we just decided to start getting something together. But and we got Ricky, and then we got Danny Altman playing drums.
But we had asked. I'd asked Thomas's brother Gerald about playing guitar. You know, I said, you know, we're trying to put something together. He said George Farr. He said, I don't know. But they
Gerald
knew each
and I
other.
were roommates in college for a while. We played a little. got a
Y'all
little band
were?
together, yeah,
Really?
for one semester, one quarter
At
I guess you call
Valdosta?
it. Yeah, Valdosta.
So after I talked to Gerald, he recommended Thomas, and Thomas said, I don't want to play right now. He's in between bands. And I said, okay, if you get to things, you change your mind, you know, call us. And he knew that George was in there. And then we had talked to Tony before we talked to Ricky.
Tony
But,
Kaysen.
Tony Kaysen. And Tony, he's always busy, but he was busy at that time, and so we got Ricky, and
But we went from immediately to a country band after we got Tony.
and
We
Ricky
went from
didn't
rock and
care
roll
too
straight
much
into
for him.
country. I mean, just the genre just changed.
Was Alibi?
And classic rock too.
What came first, the '91 Graham Parsons tribute that we did together, or Alibi? It's probably about the same.
About the same time. I
almost
moved
same
back
time,
here in
wasn't it?
'90, and I think that
Okay.
following year you started that.
We
with
did
that.
the '91
Yeah,
tribute in
yeah.
October, and then y'all almost simultaneously put
Yes,
Alibi
yeah,
together.
but Alibi, and we were playing, like I said, it's rock and roll to begin with, and then we went country, and that's where it all started happening.
Was Skip in there from the beginning?
Not
No,
from the
no.
start. No, he
Skip
came
to
later.
us, but well, we've been together about 2 years.
Yeah,
And he
Skip
ju-
and my wife were step brothers and sisters at one time,
Okay.
and
But I think Skip had moved back to Waycross, and he was looking for a band to get in,
Oh,
and it worked out good.
Teresa?
It did.
her mama was married to Skip's dad.
I'll be dog. I did not know that.
It's not something she really throws
Yeah.
out there all the time, but yeah. And Skip came, and we said, "Well, Skip, you know, we hear you like to get into band, you like to try and take them over and all this sort of stuff, and we're just good old boys, you know. We want to have some good music, and I don't do that, you know. Somebody's telling y'all a story, you know.
And then it happened.
There's a little truth to everything, you know.
No,
But it worked out for
God
us.
rest his soul. Skip is no longer with us now. He passed away, succumbed to cancer. And he was my third cousin, something like that.
I think he was kin to everybody.
He was, because it was that his mama, Nona Griffin, was my daddy's first or second cousin, something like that. And there's Bill Heyman, Wes Heyman. They were Bill was an old bandmate of mine in about '73. He sang lead and played harmonica in a group, and then Skip was their half brother.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep track of all the moving pieces, but it's pretty cool. There's a lot of somebody had some musical influence in them genes back then, and I can't trace mine at all. On either side of my family, I really can't. But y'all know of any heredity in your past?
No, I had a first cousin. He played dobro
Yeah.
in Miami. Then he moved up to North Georgia, Tennessee, up in that way. And I don't know of anybody that played banjo or guitar. I think if they did, they played 3 chords, and that was about it. You know. Mm-hmm. There was nobody we could go to and say, hey, could you show us this, or could you help us? Or
Well, you'd think that in genealogy it'd be something that stood out big, you know.
Well, my aunt was a concert violinist, and
That's a pretty good one.
and on my dad's side, I only heard one musician. He came visit us one time. It was my Uncle Talmadge. His old long gray-haired beard, and he was probably in his 80s, and he came and he had a little ukulele. And he started playing and singing, and I was just thrown away. I mean, it was amazing. He had this real high falsetto he'd sing in. It was,
man.
It was like a real old Tiny Tim or something. And I was like, oh, it's just crazy. You know?
yeah.
That's awesome.
So I guess I got it on both sides. But
Yeah.
I never had. I mean, when I started playing guitar at 15 or whatever, nobody in my family that I knew of played anything. And my grandpa on my mom's side, I never knew him. I had a step grandpa, and I met him when I was little, they say, but I don't remember. And he passed away. But at some point, my grandma had all of his family, sons and daughters that he had and grandchildren. They all come, and everybody met up one time. Well, they all come and got out the cars with guitars and banjos. I was like, I got on the wrong side. Okay, there must be something over there sprinkled in over here.
But then you'll see musicians that are, you know, they give their children every chance in the world to play, and the kids, I don't care nothing about that.
Yeah.
You know, so heredity, it's good, but desire, wanting to learn, is what you got to have.
That's my son. He is into music, but I kept putting guitars in his hands and stuff, and he really got into the keyboard. I got him piano lessons, but he's into like movie score kind of sounding stuff, and he'll create that
That's
on
a
his
whole
little
different
programs and stuff. And
That's like
it's movements versus like
Quincy
verses
Jones.
and choruses and stuff. It's like, what the heck are you doing? And
well, I hope you can edit this. I got to take a leak, man.
yeah, let's take a
we'll
break.
just take a little short break right now, folks. We got more to come.
Is there a special message, George?
I was thinking the same thing.
Something in my brain won't let me stray. Something in my veins gonna find its way. Something in the water taught me how to pray. When that cold black water finds its way into your veins, you'll never be the same.
Hey, y'all, welcome back. We got some music coming up from our illustrious guest, Mr. George Farr, going to take off on this handsome keyboard right here. What you going to do, buddy?
I'm going to do a song. It's a regional song
Yeah.
called Fernandina. It's, Fernandina is the bedroom community of Waycross and Blackcherry, all this South Georgia.
It's actually the beach in North Florida that we all grew up in.
The Dirty
On-
Dina.
Dirty Dina is what some of them call it, but my family, we
love it.
vacationed down there
Yep.
every summer, and not as many in Waycross and Blackshear did.
Spent many time there, kiss my now wife the first time in front of Dina.
Oh,
So it's a special place.
all right.
So here we go.
Cool.
There's a little sleepy fishing town on an island way down south. Long ago, the Spanish name Fernandina. Every weekend or holiday, you find me headed that way for a little R&R, if you know what I'm meaning. Fernandina, Island Amelia, senoritas, sisters of love, you're mine tonight. Shrimp boats leave at the break of dawn, the castanets and troll along, scattered out like diamonds on the sea. They head back in as the sun goes down. On the wind you'll hear the sound as every man on board starts to sing. Fernandina, Island Amelia, senoritas, sisters of love, you're mine tonight. After dark I walk the beach, feel the sand beneath my feet. I hear music in the breeze, hear the waves pound out a beat, watch the lights dance on the sea. I can hear those sailors sing. Fernandina, Island Amelia, senoritas, sisters of love, you're mine tonight.
All right.
There's usually a lead that goes in there, but I don't have Tony
Yeah,
Casey
that was
with me.
great, man. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Make me feel right at home. I remember that town many a time.
Well, getting back to the focus of regional things, I got a song here. It's about springtime in Georgia. And, I wrote this song. I was walking, trying to lose some weight in Cherokee Heights. And it was in the spring, early spring. I was walking through looking at all these azaleas and everything's just blooming, gorgeous, just crazy. And this song came to me.
All right.
Springtime in Georgia ought to come with a warning. Things get a bit crazy about this time way down south. Young peach blooms blossom, Tom Turkey's starting his strutting. Mother Nature setting the stage for life to abound. Looks like it's gonna be another gorgeous Georgia southern spring. Those azaleas, they'll amaze you, dancing with those dogwood trees. Young hearts are racing, all caught up in the scene. Looks like it's gonna be another gorgeous Georgia southern spring. Can you hear that whippoorwill whistling all he feels, serenading the evening till the stars show up at night? And there goes that old hoot owl, wise enough to figure it out. He knows without a doubt Mother Nature stepping out. Looks like it's gonna be another gorgeous Georgia southern spring. Those azaleas, they'll amaze you, dancing with those dogwood trees. Young hearts dancing, all caught up in the scene. Looks like it's gonna be another gorgeous Georgia Southern spring. Hummingbirds humming, bees making honey, sweet, sweet taste of Mother Earth. Beautiful flowers shows God's power, so delicate, so wonderful, magnificently pure. Looks like it, looks like it, looks like it's gonna be. Looks like it, looks like it, looks like it's gonna be. Looks like it's gonna be another gorgeous Georgia Southern spring.
Yeah,
Man,
that's good.
that need to be the tourism. I'm serious. I
I
know.
like the melody of that.
I
That's
do too.
very
I
catchy.
know some people on that tourism bureau. I swear to God, you slip that song to them. That the whole south of this state will be ready to pick something up on that.
Well, we'll give it to the Pine Box Drillers to carry it on. How about
There you go.
We'll need a keyboard player for that.
Has,
He must
have,
be offering.
have any of, when did you write these
that
those
song,
two songs? Are they?
the first song I wrote years ago,
Yeah.
Fernandina, I wrote, I don't know, about 20 years ago,
Yeah.
back during, right before the Alibi days, 90, 89, 90. That song I wrote when I was trying to lose weight about
Oh yeah.
10 years ago.
Okay.
And this next song I'm going to do, I wrote 35 years ago.
All right.
When my
There we
daughter was
go.
born. My wife went into labor. She at about 9 o'clock, and we went to the hospital. Water broken on it, so she's going into labor pains, and she got an epidural.
Yeah.
Well, the baby didn't come till about 6 o'clock in the morning, and so I was up all night doing coffee, drinking, and I went home after the baby was born, just sheerly exhausted, and got on the piano and wrote this song.
Okay.
And this is the weirdest song that came out from that episode. You'd never think this would come out from that, but my mom was just going crazy.
It's in honor of your daughter.
This is called Dad the Dinosaur.
Huh?
Dad the Dinosaur.
Okay.
D&D.
Like I said, I don't know how this came out of all that. That was just too much coffee and too much late at night.
Well, all right.
I remember way back to that first date that I had, and that long walk up to her door. I threw out my scrawny chest, did my very bony best to make my 5'6" look 6'4". Lord, it was hard to get up the nerve to knock. Something told me danger was in store, and all my fears came to life right before my very eyes. There stood her dad, the dinosaur. Well, he grabbed my hand like he wanted to shake, but he wouldn't let it go. And it felt just like an earthquake when he spoke down deep and low. He said, son, I'm going to tell you straight. I know that it's your first date. Now here's a thing or two you need to know. There'll be no barking in the boonies, no drive-in movies. Don't take her nowhere she ain't been before. You see, that's my little girl. To me, she's the world. Now tell me, boy, do I need to say more? Well, I said, no, sir, I understand. Jumped at the car, I was wondering just what I'd done got myself into. Well, I hadn't even put it into drive before she slid right there over on my side and said, I'll go anywhere that you want to go to. She took me by surprise and left me all confused. The corner of my mind, I could smell her sweet perfume. and pounding in my head was the words that her daddy said. So I did the only thing I knew to do. I took her parking in the boonies. We called a drive-in movie. She took me places I've never been before. There I was.
That's right.
Can we edit that? Can I go back to right there or what?
Pick it up right
Just
there.
go right back on.
Yeah.
I took her parking in the boonies. We called a drive-in movie. She took me places I've never been before. My face was twisted in a grin till I took her home again, and there on the porch stood Dad, the dinosaur. Well, I eased up there on the edge of the yard, jumped out, ran around, let her out of the car, hoping that her daddy wouldn't be suspicious. And right there before his very eyes, she wrapped everything she had around me twice and gave me one of those French foreign kind of kisses. Well, she took me by surprise and left me all confused. From the corner of my eye, I saw her daddy move. Now, if you don't think that dinosaurs roam this earth no more, wait till you get one chasing after you. Through the park and through the boonies and through a drive-in movie and places I've never been before. There I was, out of breath, a step ahead of an ugly death, when I decided I needed to get in touch with the Lord. Well, I praised the God in heaven when her daddy tripped and fell, but blame it on the devil when I turned around and yelled. I said, hey, mister, if you're wondering just what me and your daughter did, well, that's a secret I can't tell. You see, I swore. But you can take me for my word, I never took your little girl anywhere that she ain't never been before.
That's great. But
That took place so long ago. Where the years went, I don't know. Now I find that I'm a granddad, the dinosaur. And I got my hands around the neck of some young punk I expect was wishing he had never knocked on my grandbaby's door.
that's awesome, buddy.
That's good.
Yeah, that's damn John Prine, Randy Newman, all kind of just rolled together, man.
That's good.
That's good. Very, very novel take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know how that all came out of having a baby
Having a
born,
baby.
but all these thoughts
That was
and all
after
these,
your
all
baby
these-
was born.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
that next morning. I mean, I
Yeah.
went home and wrote it. That
was-
I mean, like that.
That
too.
was pure inspiration.
Yeah.
That's what that was. That's
that was-
coming together.
Yeah, staying up all night long hallucinating. That's what I was doing.
That was good. Well, folks, I got to check see what the score is on the game, so we're going to be right back. All right, folks, we are back, and as promised, we've got an update. And by the time this podcast is showing, ain't it great that the Braves won 2 World Series back to back?
Wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking.
thinking.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna claim it right here. Oh,
It's going on air now.
You didn't know that Hank Williams was a Braves fan. He wrote "Call Elijah was a wood."
Yeah.
Whoa. But anyhow, yeah, we're keeping tabs, folks, because we love our Atlanta Braves baseball. Now, we got Bob Tanner up on his,
In the batter's box.
that's a Breedlove guitar. Now, you had an Epiphone out there earlier that had a story behind it.
Well, the story is the guitar is like a 1975, and it came from the Waycross
Why?
High.
The YMCA?
No, the Sky High Wi-Fi.
What was it
World
called?
Hi-Fi?
World Hi-Fi.
World Hi-Fi. And
Yeah, James Blunt.
And the one that sold it to me was Ray Heron. That
Yeah.
goes way back, don't it?
Dang.
Yes, it does.
But
Okay.
it's one of my better playing guitars, actually.
Yeah, it feels
So,
good.
I can't complain about Ray on that.
Well, pick us an original. You know, you've been writing them as long as I have.
Well, this is one that I went and saw a friend of mine. He turned into a preacher, Pet Hayes, really good preacher. And he was talking about when he was in Vietnam. And me and him went to school together. And I went in the Army. I got drafted, and he got drafted. But he went to Vietnam. I went to Okinawa. And he was talking about how he was out there fighting, and he said, there's somebody come over yonder, shoot him. And so he said, I shot, and I saw the guy go down. He says, then, I was out there doing what I was supposed to be doing, but, he said, I was raised a Christian back home, and so it was just difficult for me to justify that.
Resolve it, yeah.
And he said, it happened again, so I had to shoot another one or two, and he said, I thought I could handle it, but when I got home, he said, I just lost it for a few years and stayed on drugs and everything else like that. But then he became a preacher and turned into one of the better ones I'd seen. Cool. But he was so emotional when he gave this sermon. Mm-hmm. I said, I've got to write some words to this. Mm-hmm. And it came out like this. It's the truth. We're all out there saying, we can do what the government wants us to do, but that guy on the other side, he's just doing that too. It's just a job. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But when somebody dies, that's the real thing. Mm-hmm. And it's and I like to play in minors anyway. So this.
What's the name of this? Never mind.
Never mind. Don't put me on the spot.
Okay, it's all right. I'm like that
it's
too.
It's in the song.
Okay.
Lord, give me strength to do what I must do. I may not understand, but I'm here to see it through. You fight for God and country, well, my country's said to fight. But out here in the jungle, Lord, it's you and me tonight. Well, I'm down on my knees, hands folded in prayer, thinking about the folks back home and wishing I was there. Small town boy of 18, fresh off the farm, never meant to hurt no one or do nobody harm. So God, why have they chosen me to go and fight the enemy? You made me a peaceful man, but I don't think they understand. You tried to heard the tales of David and of Samson and his might, but I don't think that I have in me what it takes to fight. Well, I've always heard it said, to thine own self be true. Right now I think my chances would be better off with you. So I thought we'd best be talking, or tomorrow I might die. And if I live another day, I'll know the reason why. So God, why have they chosen me to go and fight the enemy? You made me a peaceful man, but I don't think they understand. I've heard the tales of David and of Samson with his might, but I don't know if I have in me what it takes to fight.
All right.
Yeah.
That was good.
But
that guy was Vietnam?
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Yeah.
What school did you graduate from? I mean, high school.
Bacon County.
Bacon County. Okay.
The big city of Alma.
I had forgotten that.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know, when you died in Bacon County, they sent you instead
Sent
of
you
heaven,
to
you
heaven.
go to Waycross.
I always heard that people down here in South Georgia believe that when they died, their soul went to heaven. I mean, their soul went to Atlanta.
What?
Yeah. Let's do us another one, Bob.
This is I don't know how many people know him, but Billy Todd. He was always a character around Blackshear.
Billy.
You know Billy. He's gone from us now, but
Yeah.
I met his nephew the other day, and I was telling him about some of the crazy stuff that Billy had done. He said, "Oh yeah, he's one of them. You're gonna remember him." And there's a little about that and where we're from, and kind of things that go on around this way. I was down at a studio, Boblo Studios down in Brunswick,
I've heard about that.
and there was Jim Mason. Do you know Jim? Fine guitar player.
Jim Mason. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
That does sound familiar. I know Jim.
He's
No, I know Mason Waters. That's what I'm thinking of.
I was thinking of Mason
Waters.
But,
Yeah.
he was down there doing this lick. I said, "Can you show me that?" And he showed me that, and I do some semblance of it, but it was
All right.
and it was like a. Why don't I try it and do it right?
All right.
It was getting late on Friday night. Old Billy Todd said, "Let's get right." Said, "I know the way to Doc Jones Steel." Said, "Never caught me and he never will." And I said, "I don't like the sound of that." Said, "What are you, some kind of scaredy cat?" I said, "You don't break the rules of the swamp. Take a little drink, hell, drink all you want. Don't think the eyes won't be on you. They hear what you say, they see what you do. You go too far, you'll seal your fate. End up being gator bait." Billy cried, said, "That's fine. You get yours and I'll get mine." We never saw Billy Todd again. They say they left town, just don't know when. Me don't think you go too far, leaving town without your car.
No.
Oh, you don't break the rules of the swamp. Do a little drink all you want. Don't think the eyes won't be on you. They hear what you say, they see what you do. You go too far, you'll seal your fate. End up being gator bait.
All right.
Sounds like Billy Todd.
Huh?
I remember Billy Todd. That sounds like
Yeah.
something. Just sounds just like him.
Crazy.
Yep.
Well, it's got that old
Jerry Reed.
Tony Joe White
Tony
feel
Joe
to it.
White.
Yeah, Tony Joe White, Jerry Reed kind of thing. Do you? I don't want to get away from your next song, but do you know the one that you wrote? Hang on.
Put
It's
It
on the
Down?
wrong side. Put It Down. Do you know
Told
that?
you, Bob. I told you.
Did you know that? It don't matter.
Yeah,
I'm
the,
just wondering if you did. Just go
yeah.
ahead with what you got.
Well, that particular song is probably
Wordy.
no, it's not real wordy. It's we did it with good, strong 3-part harmony and music
I
behind
got
it,
you.
and
I got you.
but it was also one of the most satisfying songs that we'd done. We did it down in Silver Springs, opening up for somebody. I forget, it might have been Martina McBride. And a guy came down the road where we were all signing autographs thinking we were somebody. And he said, look, you know, you wrote the song, Put It Down. And they said, no, that guy down there. And he came down to me. He said, you write the song, Put It Down? I said, yeah. He said, I was sitting out there in the crowd. And when you played it, he said, I spent so many years as an alcoholic. I lost my family. I lost, you know, my children, all that. And he said that when you played that, it just hit me, like I need to keep doing what I'm doing because right now I'm staying straight. And I said, well, that's great.
God is.
And we had
a good feeling.
A girl from Lyons, Georgia.
I got that in the tale of the week.
Oh, that's great.
I'll cover that in the tale of the week. But just play another song for me. What you got there?
He was a hard drinking country boy living down in Tennessee. Thought drinking was a way of life. He just could not let it be. Days turned to weeks as the years passed him by. Somebody reached out. Somebody heard his cry. They said, son, there we go. I have to redo that. It was a lady. She just had to have her way. You could see the look come over him when he heard her softly say, put it down. You don't need it anymore. Put it down. I'm here, but before I settle down, stand my ground, put it down. High pressure situations and stress go hand in hand. So it started out as just a trip to the Candy Man. Now the good job's gone, he's all alone, thinks he might end it all. He heard his mama reach out. He heard his mama call. She said, son, we love you. Back here you always got a home. It's gonna be rough, but we'll work it out. Right now you don't need to be alone. So put it down. You don't need it anymore, put it down. I am here, but before I settle down, I'll stand my ground, put it down. Well, I heard the preacher preach last Sunday, made the message clear. Give up all your sins and pray, my child, and surely God will hear. We all know God is watching us. He sees us every day. But if he was into talking, we'd hear him say, put it down. You don't need it anymore, put it down. I am here, but before I settle down, I'll stand my ground, put it down. You don't need it anymore, put it down. I am here, but before I settle down, I'll stand my ground, put it down.
All right, I'm glad you played that.
Great.
That was awesome.
This girl from Lyons had wrote us a letter. She said, we'd heard it last night. She said, I'd been doing cocaine and I was trying to quit the habit, and said I was getting mighty weak. And the song came on the radio. It was a friend of ours played it up in Lyons. And she said, I took what I had and I dumped it. And, just prayed that the Lord would give me the strength to keep doing that, and that's such a prevalent problem we have nowadays that I said, man, if you write a song to do that, or make a grown man cry because of what he's going through, then isn't that kind of what we set out to do?
Kind of like you've done your job.
Yeah.
And folks, that's what it's all about right there. That's the real meaning of songwriting right there. Well, I'm glad you played that, Bob. That was good. That was kind of my request.
Me and George.
I didn't know if you had that planned or not, but I'm glad you did it.
Well, it was the fourth verse and fifth verse that I didn't have.
Yeah, I got you.
No, that was it.
Folks, it's time for another tale of the week from Uncle Dave Griffin. And This one concerns these two renegades over here.
Bring out the mug shots.
Oh, there we go.
Back in the day, that's the way to start a story. When my generation of club hoppers used to hop, there was a number of places where young men and women could meet, mingle, dance, and drink. Your Night out the Jacksonville Highway. Little Nights on Night Avenue. Steve's Pine Room, just over the Pierce County, Ware County line. Hubs, where the mall now sits, and the Steakhouse Lounge were my first taste of such venues.
Alfonso's, right?
Yeah, Alfonso's Steakhouse. First gig I ever played on a Thursday night. In the mid-'70s, Boehner Jacobson opened the Fox Trap, formerly a dry cleaning establishment in downtown Waycross, Georgia. Around the same time, the legendary Green Frog Restaurant debuted their outdoor liquor and beer garden, calling it the Lily Pad. The Pass Track and the New Bar, two of the early bars I played in, were scenes for a short while. The venues would come and go, just like the bands in Waycross, Blackshear, and Alma, but there were some venues that kept changing and keeping up with the times. The Fox Trap, a disco club in its heyday, changed its name to the Espresso and brought in dance and show bands traveling the nightclub circuit from around the country. Homeward Angel, featuring John Smith, Ricky Alderman, and Bill Ferris, played there. The King Midas of club owners, Sir Henry Wynn, managed that place for a while, and like all the clubs he managed in Waycross, he managed to make a success of it before getting out, right when the getting was good. After Henry left the Espresso, the club lay dormant until 1994 when Marvin Foster, a Brunswick native with a pile of money to invest, bought the night spot and named it after a talented local country band, calling it Alibis. And that was the Waycross Journal-Herald ad back in the day. That looks like a dang full-page ad.
It does, don't
He
Yeah.
spent some money.
Yeah. Where
He
the
made some money too.
Alibis, where the kicking country never stops. So you had a band named Alibi, you had a club named Alibi in Waycross. It was big. It was huge. When George Farr, keyboard player in a diverse lineup of Waycross groups from Gold Dust, Spellbound, and Waycross Express, moved back home from Jacksonville, Florida in the early 90s, he formed a songwriting duo with Bob Tanner, former bass player with the Selden Blues Band and Hijinks. In 1991, the name Alibi was being used by a high school classmate of mine, Ricky McDaniel, a fine guitar player who was legendary around town for his ability to play Santana's Black Magic Woman flawlessly, note for note. It was. Yeah. Alibi's drummer was another of my classmates and former Sweetbriar drummer, Danny Altman. They added George and Bob to their group and started picking up gigs. I might have that history a little bit wrong. Y'all might have started it all and added them. I don't know how that really works, but yeah. Following the departure of Ricky and Danny, Alibi added the talents of vocalist and mandolin player too, wasn't he? Stevie Young and drummer Thomas Gibson and lead guitarist Tony Cason. In July of 92, the five-piece group defeated the other local band, Borderline, in a Battle of the Bands contest, sponsored by the local Chamber of Commerce, winning $500 cash and the opportunity to open for Susie Boggess and Restless Heart at the annual Pogo Fest celebration on October 17th of that year. Lead singer, guitar player Skip Sasser, son of Nona Griffin McLeod and my third cousin, sought out the up-and-coming country music group. Once Skip joined and local promoter Cookie D'Amico started managing, all the pieces were in place for what was to become a remarkable run for Alibi. The band competed on Charlie Daniels Talent Roundup, broadcast on the Nashville Network, and on July 8, 1995, they were announced as the big prize winners to the tune of $25,000. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in the band. That was almost 4,000 something apiece.
4,000 and change.
Heck yeah.
Unless y'all split it with Charlie and the woman on the end.
I was thinking Stevie wanted to.
Yeah, he said, she touched me. Things really started ramping up for the guys after that. Ron Simpson of RCS Productions in Atlanta signed them to a managerial contract, got them on stage with the major country acts of the time, like Merle Haggard, Alabama, Hank Jr., Tanya Tucker, Diamond Rio, and Sawyer Brown. From fairs and festivals like Country Fest 96 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, to clubs and concerts, Atlanta Olympic concert with Tracy Lawrence, the endless gigs were steady. But it was the Nashville record label showcases that would hopefully provide Alibi with their most sought-after dream, a major label recording contract. The group featured 3 songwriters, George, Bob, and Skip, so it was inevitable that they put out a CD of their original songs. Their debut effort was produced using former Waycross musician Jim Bickerstaff's mobile recording van and offered 10 originals, including Bob's Put It Down, which we just heard, a song about substance abuse that inspired a listener in Dublin, Georgia, to write a special letter to him. After 2 years of constant performing and promotion, Alibi was approached by a booking agency with a lucrative but non-stop touring package. Without the hoped-for record deal and missing wives and children at home, the group hesitantly decided to ease back from the busy road life that their success had brought them. Skip finally decided to leave the group, heading to Nashville to seek out songwriting opportunities. The remaining members of Alibi, not ready to give the band up entirely, brought in a new lead singer in the local Scott Nickel, and in 98 with a female vocalist, Katie Stevens of Blackshear, Georgia. Eventually, the successful group played their final gig. An emotional reunion took place in June 2019, seeing all 6 members of the award-winning Alibi gather together to play a benefit for Skip Sasser, who ended up losing his battle with cancer. Friends and musicians united in generosity at LL Creek Bar and Grill to raise over $6,000 for a dear friend who is greatly missed. What came across most to me that evening was the love that those 6 band members of Alibi still held for one another. It's hard enough to put a band together and keep it going. Through successes and failures, from juke joints to concert stages, in 15-passenger vans, rental buses, and airplanes. But Alibi did it. They did it all, and they did it well.
Yeah, that's good. That was
And y'all did. Y'all did.
Now we hope the Braves follow suit.
If the Braves could only be like Alibi. Well, guys, we surely do appreciate y'all being on tonight.
Yes,
Well, we enjoyed being here.
It's been a minute trying to get it to fall into place with.
Sorry, I had to cancel last time.
No, it was on all sides. I think it was all 4 of us, as a matter of fact.
Got a
But
job, go to it. Yeah.
once it happens, it's good as gold. So you gonna play us out?
Yeah, play us on the way out.
You know that one? What was it? Excuse me. Right. Oh, hey.
Elijah?
2-time World Series winners, folks. The Atlanta Braves.
It's bottom of the 8th, still 2-1.
Hoo-wee.
Still 2-1.
I'm getting excited.
Still 2-1.
And I appreciate y'all watching. Hope y'all are still excited about Something in the Water podcast. We are. And remember to ease on over there to patreon.com for a $5 a month subscription to our Deep End episode. Comes out once a month, and it's hairy.
Yeah.
Support your local musicians
Oh, also, yeah, support your
and
local,
your local
musicians.
businesses too.
Go to where they are playing, folks. Go to where they're playing and check them out at least. You know, you don't even have to tip them. Just listen and clap every now and then because we like it when you clap. Guys, thanks again for being on. Love y'all.
Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Enjoyed being
you.
here.
Appreciate you.
It was a pleasure.
And we'll see y'all next time.
When the cold black water finds its way across through your veins, it just might seal your fate. It just might seal your fate. It just might seal your fate.